And then here at the bottom we've got a bit more navigation where they can actually go to the individual pages should they actually ever get there and want to do that.
Yeah.
And then
extra linkage.
Links to blogs, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We'll talk about that in a bit. Bit of authoritative endorsement here.
Yeah.
Ability to ring. So you kind of go through from here, follow on.
Yeah.
That's the rest of the 5 Qs. So we're talking about delivering creative graphic design on time, on budget, every time. How would you feel if you could have stimulating graphic design without the hefty bills?
Yeah.
We'll give you practical advice on your marketing key. This is all good reinforcing reasons why you should continue and start talking. And the graphic design elements drop down there. So again, absolutely easy access to go, well, actually I want advertising design, I want corporate, I want this, that and the other. And then if you click on one of those, you then go to what will become eventually a landing page, talk about those elements in detail, something called branding identity.
Yeah. So that's that one of these here.
Yes, that's the kind of there. So you've kind of gone from there to there to there.
Then you're on that main landing page.
Yeah, and we also have here about about adding 10 tips. We actually put it on.
And those would be articles that fit within it. It's kind of it's like perfect kind of physical silos, isn't it? Or naturally lend itself to that, wouldn't it? In social media terms, these are called badges, and these are called widgets. The widgets are, we've got blog, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Perhaps we've got some of that functionality running on your website. Perhaps your Twitter on your homepage or whatever, your Twitter stream, rather than just immediately linking them straight off to Twitter, it could run your last 10 tweets in a little kind of window. And that would be a sort of a classic piece of social media. And in social media, these are usually called badges. They're kind of symbols of allegiance.
Okay, yeah.
If you know what I mean, and sort of reflect some of your values.
Brilliant. Yeah, I just realised actually I've got a Web 2 page. You see bits of I can talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, my priorities for Web 2 is initially the blog.
Yeah.
Because I think we can empathise with people, we can identify some cool stuff that's out there, and it's an external link that's going to come into the site as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Twitter for kind of shorthand. I've seen this; it's really cool.
Yeah.
The LinkedIn and Facebook I will kind of come later. I'm not necessarily sure about the value of putting Facebook in there or not. I know it's all about social media, but just coming into it like that. It's easy to stay sticky, isn't it? I'm not sure. I'm not entirely.
Of those 3 or 4, it's the most contentious and perhaps the hardest to sort of, in one sense, the hardest to ignore, but possibly the hardest to kind of commercialise. I mean, we look at the blog. Okay, it's about you projecting your values. It sits on your website. It's a constant reinforcement. The downside of the blog is that you do have to write proper articles, and you're probably going to take an hour plus each to try and. Unlike Twitter, where you've only got a few characters to work with, it's essentially just a kind of quick thought.
Yeah.
Whereas a blog, for it to be useful, you have to put a bit more thought into the beginning, the middle, the end, the meat of it, what it's trying to do, really. That's why I think people are way more drawn to Twitter, because it's just offload.
Yeah.
Don't think. Look, you know.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is a definite. And obviously your Facebook, you need to have a greater look at how you kind of commercialise that.
Yeah. Because
But it's very, very current, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from there. On this friends element of the site, what would it see there? Because obviously we need to address inbound and outbound links, because at the minute it's about there's nothing really of any weight.
Yeah.
Outbound, I'd see us developing like a sort of friends page where we actually have quality outbound links, which I know aren't going to do anything particularly to the ranking.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of making it a destination site, it makes it quite interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to say,
some elements of hope about it then, aren't
yeah, if you want a really brilliant food photographer, we know these guys in London.
Yeah.
If you want a really great, exhibition stand manufacturer, these guys have done 10 for us, and they're great.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, and there's a whole kind of little sort of thumbnails and opportunities to click through.
Yeah.
And then inbound links, lots of work needed, obviously. I think an easy start is obviously existing clients' websites and site design by Duo.
Yeah.
Relevant directories, press releases, links from industry and relevant forums, but really I need to get into that significantly more to put a proper action plan together.
Standout moment, and where do we go from here then?
Well, standout moment I think was actually realising that Google doesn't do quirky. And we need to kind of be very clear about, because I don't think I could have told people what we did properly or succinctly at the start of the process. So that was kind of it. Then getting all the beans in a row from that. And where we go from here is initially get this up and running.
Yeah.
And then fine-tune these individual elements to get these into individual landing pages.
Yeah.
And
stats in place and observe what's going on.
And sort of monitor it with Google Metrics.
Kind of work smart on it. Brilliant.
Oh, sorry, pay-per-click. Just didn't mention that. It does actually kind of work on a mild basis for graphic design, Nottingham. We could get, when you talk about you're going to get increased click rate over a period of time, your ads costs going down and so on. I mean, it could actually lead to some 16 potential new clients on a £500 investment.
Yeah.
So again, that phrase makes sense there.
Yeah. So we might be looking at sort of a balance of it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Questions?
What sort of timescale are you going to put yourself through for
That's
implementation?
a very good question, isn't it? Very good question. I think what we now, we're kind of beginning of November, aren't we? I would like to try and get something up during January. Really, I don't think it's unrealistic.
And then set some monthly targets to across the key areas. A new article every month.
Yeah.
A blog. Set some goals on blogging and tweeting and be consistent with it.
Absolutely. I think also the beauty of that is sort of lives in it is we can just change those, which will refresh content to highlight different product areas, different landing page, and keep that home page fresh as well.
Yeah, definitely so. And one thing that struck me about this is that you've got, it's kind of classically what a graphic designer tends to come up with in that, not so much the layout, but the fact that it's a landscape view. You have a space as a graphic artist, you have used it. Actually, remember from eye tracker that area below the fold comes in an extra bonus. It doesn't compromise the ability or the content above to do something. So you've got an extra space down here on each of these pages, in effect, that comes as bonus space.
Yes.
So could you then add a second image, second set of navigation, and flesh it out and just make this feel a little bit richer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe as you get more articles in these key areas at the top of these silos, that you possibly do some linkage from further down to sort of take them to loads of how-tos and top 10 tips and all that kind of thing. And the thing becomes richer, doesn't it? That should help you with the bounce back rate.
Brilliant.